Why? We'll be back right after this.
All right, in the middle of setting up the Cairo. Setting up the Cairo.
Yeah.
The last thing we did was the Abeitza, Tachtem Bemsa Mortar. So that we did already. So in order. So here, there's something from the Rebbe's Seder, not the Rebbe's Agoda, and not all the Rebbe's Agoda. This is a personal minute that the Rebbe did, which people have interpretations why, and that is. Most of you, we mentioned this, most people use the shredded chrein. Some Bachrim said they have an actual piece as well. The Rebbe, when he took the shredded chrein, so you take from the bone and you put it onto your kaida. The Rebbe would take a fistful of the chrein, what we call the radish, and he would squeeze it under the table. And this is a personal minhag of the Rebbe, which I don't think there's any other source for it. And the Rebbe would squeeze it under the table and squeeze it till it became dry. He made a full fist. And when it was a full fist, officially they put a piece, like we mentioned, a piece inside and put it inside on top of the lettuce. But that was the Rebbe's personal minhag. What?
A piece of wood inside.
A piece of actual mortar that was not shredded. And then so then the Rebbe, and it was all wrapped up with the lettuce. What? Yes, he ate. We mentioned this yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was. That was the Rebbe's minhag to some Bachrim do also. That was promised through. So this is a personal minhag of the Rebbe. What? How do you squeeze?
How do you squeeze it?
How do you squeeze it? I don't know what you're asking.
How do you squeeze it on Yom Tov for Shabbos?
On Yom Tov you could squeeze it because you're getting rid of it. I'm not sure the explanations. Yom Tov is not an issue, maybe Shabbos, but that could be Shabbos. He didn't do it. As far as I know, he did it on Shabbos also.
There's nothing wet in there.
What? He would squeeze out moisture. And why? Some people say to get rid of. Some people say to get a full shear. Some people say to get rid of the moisture. It shouldn't be gebrocks. But that's a personal minhag which anybody does it at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh? You guys do it also? You squeeze it out?
I usually squeeze
Yeah,
the
you do.
matzah.
We squeeze the matzah. All right. That's a minute. We don't have any of the. We don't have any of the shredded stuff over here. So we'll leave it at that. The tachas hamorah, tachas hazroya acharoisa. So this is spicy mayo. It would be very geschmack if this would be charoises. So
No, I don't like.
You rather charoises than spicy mayo? No, each to their own.
Yeah, charoises
Most of the people agree with me. You're the only person who went through that eats your charoises. No one else.
No, nobody likes charoises stam. Just
You guys eat
pound
charoises?
them.
My brother does it.
Oh, why? Yesterday I asked no one raised their hand.
I did.
He's also the one who eats
I raised
the.
my hand.
He's
I was
losing
in
to
him.
him. You hit him, he hit your back.
Everybody's gonna say yeah to look cool, like you know the spicy stuff.
No, but
It's not spicy.
Nobody eats the charoises. You eat the charoises. Who else eats charoises? You eat the charoises also. Eat the charoises also.
Brother, do
Last
you
time I don't want only he responded.
eat the fish ball?
What?
The fish eyeball?
Not cash.
My chicken did. No, I love this. I love the.
Charoises, most people, I thought most people don't eat. I mean, after, besides you dip it into the mortar. I'm talking about eating it separately.
Only on the second night.
Second night, you eat it as a dish, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but most people don't do that.
My chicken, they
Huh?
my chickens, they like it.
By chickens, what?
My chicken.
Oh, which one?
Chickens.
You grew chickens and you fed them your charoises?
Yeah, and they like it.
On Pesach? Oh, it's complicated. Since when did you raise chickens?
Since he started.
California. Only for 1 year.
All right, very cool. For Pesach, no.
You had their eggs.
What?
Israel.
The Zraya can only be eaten by day, not by night. There shouldn't be Zeicher eating Golden Pesach outside. No, only by the second day.
Can you eat it? Can you eat it Pesach?
Yes.
What's better?
You can eat chicken. So that we went through. You weren't here about it.
We didn't have a mock Seder yesterday.
I said all these halachas already.
He was
You
doing
can
all
eat
the
what's
time.
on
He
the
was in the
Seder
classroom.
besides the murder and the charoises. Everything else you can eat. You're allowed to eat eggs. You're allowed to eat onions. You can have everything else that's on the plate. All right. So the charoises, we went through this already. How to make it, whatever. Just for appearance purposes, we have this little thing over here. Many people will put at least a bowl for the charoises. It's simpler. We mentioned already that the minhag is that we do not add wine yet. As of now, it's dry.
Drying out the charoises.
Drying the charoises.
Like basically, you like just putting it in a napkin and then like basically putting it in.
It's in theory no, because it's made payers. It can't be the bros, even if it goes through. I mean, the so another point that many people that when we went through this, pretty much everybody besides you guys have a regular the fabrics, whatever those velvet things. But many people also have a plastic on top of that. Like the whole thing is in a plastic, correct? I have that also. It makes it a lot simpler. So those things that protect, if anything spilled, it's still not going to go through to the matzahs. So there's no need for that. But if you don't have that, then I guess in theory it makes sense to get rid of any moisture, even though there's no real need for it.
What does the Rebbe do about that?
Napkin, only a napkin underneath. It was a cloth and a napkin.
There's one that fell through, that's it.
I guess. I mean, he was careful not to have one in the area, and I guess.
What do you do with that matzah?
What?
What do you do with that matzah? Like,
I don't think it ever happened that wine spilled on the matzah. But the Rebbe Rashab ate wine and matzah with wine, by the way, because his wine didn't have any water, so he had to dip his matzah in wine.
Wait,
That's
so
what
we
it's
can't, could we
Why?
have this
Why?
one with
Just
to
to show that.
No, it was the dish. It was a way of eating. It was.
Dip it in wine.
That's what it
If
says.
this is
Never do that
water,
after
how do we
Yeah,
do
that's because you're meant to dip it in everything you
But
put.
Aaron Shal Pesach, he dip in wine. You have to give up. There's no water in your wine.
Wait,
Yeah, they dilute it, no?
Hmm?
So you are officially meant to be careful.
Factory don't dilute it.
Shouldn't be like-
If they dilute it,
water
then
in
it's
wine.
water. Depends. If they dilute it, some they have, some they don't have. Rebbe Rashab's wine
don't
has
have
no
any
water.
water.
Most wine is water in it.
Homemade for sure.
If you dip your, if you have, carbs with your matzah?
No, because charesis, even if it has wine, most wines don't have any water in
What
them.
about this
What
one?
if
What? This charesis?
This
So
wine.
that's wine.
This wine, does it have water? I don't
Tons of
know.
water.
I have
Yeah,
no
they add
idea.
water.
I have
It's
no clue.
85%.
I have no clue what it has inside it.
Thing's great.
It wouldn't tell you what it
Maybe
has.
that-
Yeah.
maybe that-
That doesn't mean grape juice can be
Every
sweet because
wine
it's only
is
grapes
grape
also.
juice.
So I don't know that it has water in it.
So what we-
Because I'm talking, I can tell him that no. Yeah. Not shruya. Matzah with wine, yeah. Yeah, that's the halacha. I said, we're careful today. Okay, we went through this a few days ago. Huh?
Squeeze grapes on our matzah and eat it?
In theory, you can have an orange and avocado, everything, yeah.
Lemons?
Everything. It's Svara. If there's no water, it's may payres. Fruit juice does not make chametz.
What about milk?
Shmura milk. The Rebbe Rashab had shmura milk with matzah. It says the same thing.
No way, that's so.
Shmura milk means milk that was careful that you, the way it was milk, what the animals were fed beforehand, whatever it was.
Sneeze on your matzah.
What?
Sneeze on your matzah.
So where it come from? This thing that you can
People just have in Pesach. People just do things because they're makbid. There's a story that I say every year. I didn't say it. I got the Shulchan Aruch. We'll say it now already. The story is that there was one time a young daughter watching her mother preparing the fish for Pesach, and she noticed that she bought a big fish and she cut off the head and she cut off the tail and she put it into the pan. And usually throughout the year, whenever they buy a big fish, they cook the whole thing in the oven. So she says, "Mom, why did we do that?" I said, "No, it's Pesach. That's what we do." So my mother did. So why did your mother? Let's call her Bobby. For Pesach, when you make the fish, how do you make the fish? You cut off the head and the tail, right? Yeah, why? Well, that's what we did in Russia. Why? I don't know. That's called the Elta Bobby. They call the Elta Bobby. He's an old age of Florida. They call her, no, Elta Bobby. Is that the minhag on Pesach? You cut off the head and the fish. She says, yeah. Why'd you do that? Because our Pesach pan was a bit smaller, so the whole fish couldn't fit inside. Many minhagim began like that. So here as well. So when it comes to this moisture, people just think anything moist can cause it to be gebrux. So stay away. But really, there's no purpose. There's no reason for that. But everyone's makbid. I myself am makbid. No, if you make a salad. You have tomatoes and cucumbers. So if they were washed and all dried, and now they're cut up, and you put oil. Most people use oil. I went through this already. You can dip. You have matzah with your salad. That's perfectly fine. Nobody does it because it looks off, and maybe there's a drop of water that mixed in over there. So you don't want to do that. But inside the basic rules of shruya, no concern.
Wait, Rabbi, what if you eat so much mar that you start tearing up and then you cry all over your matzah? You can, right?
No, then it's gebrux because
Tears over water?
yeah, tears are water, and sneezing also is water. Huh?
What about
What?
What do you do with matzah?
What do you do, matzah? If you sneeze on it, if you cry on it, whenever if matzah falls on the floor, what do? You put it away, throw it out.
Wait, what about its intoxicants that you
What?
can't?
It doesn't. It's not a chash ad kadei kach that we're going to say if they burn it now. I don't think so. I've never heard of anyone that burns their
It's so
gebrux
much
by
more
mistake.
fun.
Huh?
So much
You
more
burn
fun.
your gebrux by mistake?
No, but
It's fun. In theory, if your matzah gets wet, just like if you find chametz in Shabbat, no one does that. Because it's a chumrah not to eat it, but consider it chametz and burn it. I never heard of it.
What if you're eating
Right?
matzah and it falls
I know,
out of
but
your
it's
mouth
fun to
back,
burn
so you
matzah.
let it put it back
Okay.
If it's still dry, yeah. If it's not like
Then it's probably not. It's probably not chametz.
that's it's
No,
just-
it's
so
like
much more fun. What do you
People
mean?
don't know. Obviously, we're not gonna eat it because that's what
We're not going to eat it. We go like this, but
What if you threw up all over your
this that we're having all these other chumras is extra. All right, we're getting off track. This was the charosis. Maybe later we'll get to that also.
What if you trip and you're holding it?
Ukenegdoi tachas habeitza karpas. All right, so now we have karpas. I have over here a piece of purple onion. Out here, so by karpas, you put the karpas tachas habeitza. So
How do you just
here-
have a full onion?
could you be quiet and let me talk?
Wait.
You're sorry. Woo, they accomplished something. When it comes to when it comes to karpa, so when I was a kid, there was a delicacy. We used to have potatoes, cooked potatoes for karpas. The adults had onions. Today, even children have onions. So let's go again. Anybody has potatoes for karpas in their Seder plate? Amazing. Oh, the minhag is alive. And the minhag is alive. He used to say that all the time. All the kids have potatoes, and the adults have All the adults have onions. Adults have potatoes too. Oh, I'm a chaya. Come to your Seder. It's nostalgia. To go back when I was a kid, that was the best thing. The karpas, it was the biggest fruit. Because Allah, you can't have more than a kazais by karpas. No way. I don't know, because everyone started going to the onions and it was more bitter. I don't know. Sure, not raw potatoes. Boil them. It's a machai. It's like it's mashed potatoes. It's a delicacy.
Make karpas their main course. I used to make karpas their main
Yeah, I remember. And when I was a kid, I was only kind of more than kazais. Kazais, for sure. That's a whole potato with kazais. Huh? No, onion. What about onion?
Which color?
What? White. No, this is just purple because that one was my fridge. But white onions. Now.
Your onions in your fridge?
Yeah, obviously after you cut it open.
Where did they buy the onion?
That's what.
Shoot, wait.
When you schneid, it's after onion. So here's a minute that we like this.
Milk is replacing.
Wow.
Your father's son.
You said you saw it before. You said you report. All right. So okay. So now I like to share always. I think it's the Getter Rebbe. I think it's the Getter Rebbe or the Belzer. I forget already. But basically, one of the main reasons for karpas is that the children should ask questions. And therefore, I think it's the Getter Rebbe, every year he takes a different item for karpas. It might be a banana, it might be a pineapple, it could be a kiwi. Every year something else, which at first glance sounds good. But then you remember to dip it in the salt water, that doesn't sound so good anymore. But that makes the people ask the questions, what it's going to be. You're on camera, so be careful. It's big online, so there's a head. Your father might watch it, someone's going to do you, so I want to sit over there.
He's not gonna watch.
Okay,
Had,
all right, so the whole difference. So now back to most people, like we said, most people use onions for sure. They're adults. Yes.
Is it vegetables or else is it fruits?
It has to be according to Allah. It's ha'adama because ha'adama, it's the whole part of the murder afterwards.
So it can't be a raw potato?
One sec. There's a lot of different questions over here. The pashas has to be a ha'adama, which has to be a vegetable or something like that. A banana is not a vegetable, but it's ha'adama. Watermelon could be too. Yeah, that'd be cool. That's the next thing we're going to talk about right now. About that. So,
what if he doesn't have his wheelchair?
Huh? All right. Now, just to point out that when I ask what do you use for karpas, so Israelis and Sfardim, that's what do you use for karpas? For karpas, you use karpas. There's a vegetable called karpas. I forget what it is. It's something, some kind of celery, parsley, something like that, which is called karpas. So they wonder, what do you use for karpas? What do you use for tomato? Tomato. But they don't understand the whole question. But with the pile, like I said, most people will. The regular minhag and most Chalabavitchers is to use onions. Now we're going to ask, who uses? That's Ben.
Fully onion.
I'm going to send you a link somewhere else. Send you in the corner with your hands up your head.
We should get a stick. Yo, Mario on
Or
camera.
cut out.
I know. Should get like the long stick, Rabbi. Whoever does video, just go get.
Who uses a complete onion and who uses only a slice of onion? All those use complete onions, raise your hand.
Oh yeah.
A whole onion.
Like you just take the whole. How do you eat the onion?
One second. Okay. Let me speak, and when I'm done speaking, ask your question. Who uses a slice of onion? Raise your hand. No, I'll get the time for it. Okay, so you see the different minhagim. So there are many people, if I understand correctly, that had a complete onion on the kaira. When it came time for the karpas, then you make a bracha, and then you cut off a piece, and you dip it into the salt water. But on the kaira itself, some people will have slices of onion, some people have a complete onion. Always white onions. To point out a very big shaila, and that is according to halacha, making a adama on a raw onion is problematic. Because throughout the year, nobody eats raw onions as is. Most people won't eat raw. In salads, not plain. And that's why, halachically, it's a question about making on the pile. That's like we spoke about matzah. Matzah should be mezonis. We make a moitzi. So the pile, everything is fine. Just to point out that there's a shaila about it.
Use salt water or sugar water?
That was almost as dumb as my comment.
It wouldn't work.
All right, so that's regarding that's the karpas. Yes. Lo shomea.
The whole reason why we do karpas, why Seder, so that people ask questions.
The minhag.
There's a number of minhag. There's other things. Karpas is samach perich, a siman. So there's 600,000 that work with this perich. Other inyanim as well.
Are you able to use
I didn't know this.
Are you able to use
Lo shomea. Shake it. No?
Why is it one of the 14 stuff? That's a significant stuff, like Karpat, just because it's.
Who said it's one of the 14 stuff? What do you have one of the 14 stuff? Karpa?
15. 15.
I'm sorry. Okay.
15.
Every detail in the Seder is counted as something about it. We mentioned already before. Everything in the Seder has Seders and secrets of the Torah. We don't always know, and that's something that I like I said before about the pan. Some things have deeper meanings. We don't always know. This it says, Karpas is Samach Berach. There's other stuff also going on. Yeah.
Does the water resemble the tears or the sweat? Because the sweat is more common to like taste.
I don't think it was as evil. The salt water, I don't even call that as connected to that.
That's what I was always taught.
Yeah, everyone learns this.
I don't remember that. Maybe I'm forgetting.
That in their
Tears.
3-1A tears class.
I don't remember
What
that.
about you said that? You are stupid.
Not official things.
Are you able to use like sweet fruits for carpet?
No, our minig is not to use onion.
Onions.
Usually they're more like the hint.
You have to do it the same way.
All right, the next thing is
Onions.
Is it better to use onion than potato?
the nusach that we say that I was taught in the karba menusta shtikel at zibula or the kartafel. That was the lashon always, either zibula or kartafel. Lepayel, most people use onion. I assume onion is better. That's because most people use it.
Can you use potato chips?
Huh?
Sea salt potato chips?
Possibly.
If you put water on top, it's gross.
But it's sea salt already, so.
It's never happened. We have so many. You know why? Because all the fifth sons came to the Seder. It's more complicated.
Wait, this is no more fifth son. You're only the fifth son if you don't show up to Seder.
Wow, is it Nudigata?
Possible. And then we have underneath the mother in the middle, we have again the chazeres, which is basically the same bowl on the table, goes around a few times. People first take it for mother, and they take it for chazeres, and everything is set up in its place. And now we have the two segels on the agada, and now everybody gets up, and all the younger sisters can sing together. Kadesh Orchat. You don't do that together. And then what usually ends up happening is that someone starts crying at this point, and therefore you have to sing it again because they didn't take out their morus thing and read it from inside. So you has to sing it a second time and the third time. Just don't sit behind me. You want to ask questions in front of me. And then I'm telling you, no, go somewhere else. So now we say all the simonim. That's the minute to say it. You don't have to sing it. Yes. Sit down, no, it's fun. You can ask about it, no?
Well, why like most people call it barek and we call it beta?
I'm not sure.
Because they
That's
have
one
snags
answer.
and they have it
That's it. I don't think the Rebbe talks about that. I don't think the Rebbe talking about that.
So the Rebbe doesn't have a minute about it. There's no minute about it?
All right, now that we say the Kaddish or Chatz, we move on to Kaddish. Okay, Kiddush,
You don't
okay?
say the yeshing beforehand?
What?
You don't say like the little beforehand?
The Kaddish you say now. You say the Lashon, and the Tat, the Fum, the Hein, the Shul, Nachem, the Al Kiddush, the Hein, the Kiddush,
That way that doesn't false.
All right, now we do the Kiddush. So Kiddush, so here, thank you very much. All right, you're gonna, huh?
Oh.
Wow, I told you 100 times that they're no good at
Oh, you don't like the wow?
Okay, so now we do Kiddush. So here, most people have a smaller becher, a bigger becher. We must talk about this.
You don't want to get drunk on that kind of stuff.
Huh?
You don't want to get drunk on that kind of stuff. Calm down.
I'm not gonna drink it.
Someone's gonna walk me home. It's okay. I didn't drive. Okay, so now now also before since the minig is to read the instructions, so this is not negiah to us. You don't have to say this. Some people read this instruction, but the most important instruction is at the end it says Shaisa Keis Ba'aseva, Shaisa Keis B'Shiva, Ba'aseva Smell Der Achedus. when you're done Kiddush, you can't say these words because you can't make a hefsek. So that's why those that know, they're careful to say this instruction before they make Kiddush, and then they make the Kiddush, and the minhag is everyone stands up for Kiddush, right? Everyone stands up and everyone says Kiddush together as well, right?
Yeah.
Huh? No?
No, it's 3 different
Some people
ways.
do it everyone separately?
So
Okay.
somebody just says
All right,
three
wait a
different
second. One at a time. Who? Everyone that the whole family says together, raise your hand.
You should be doing it all together.
Everyone that each person says Kiddush separately, raise your hand. Okay, you must have a small Seder.
It depends if
How many people say Kiddush?
No, only people who actually have a kind, and I make the kids quiet. My father makes Kiddush out loud, and I make basically I do.
You don't do it together with your father.
Not really.
everyone does it aloud besides the
I'm just
younger
there,
kids. They
And then everyone also, the mothers and sisters are all having cases as well? Does their mother have a kaida? Anybody? Any of your mothers have a kaidos? Nobody. Huh?
Yeah.
No way.
All the women around the thing must have.
Your mother has the whole thing there? Yes. All right. So now what's important? No, you can sit down. I need a pillow.
It's more fun if we stand.
Rabbi, I need a second chair to be spitz.
This is going to be my pillow? No, I'm not. So did I have a second chair?
Is
Rabbi, you slow.
Now I want to show you the very complicated part over here.
Rabbi,
Huh? The wine's blocking the wine.
Rabbi, you're slow. The kids already finished the grape juice.
I'm very slow. The kids have done, yeah. Usually the kids, as soon as it comes to the becher, before everyone has it, already finished. It's true. So now, now you go like this, right to the left, and go down. That's how you're supposed to do it. Officially, it's supposed to be 3 tvachim off the table. Most dining room tables are a bit higher than this table, so it's usually not really 3 tvachim, but it's fine. And now I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it.
The Rebbe used to pick it up with 2 hands. 2 hands, then into 1.
Really?
Yes.
I don't remember that. Okay.
We drink the whole
Well. All right. Savri Maranon, you don't have to say that. Now, I want to show you how it's done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam b'nei pri hagafen.
Nailed it.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you put down the left.
You have to remember to do Ba'al Seva. If you don't do Ba'al Seva, it gets complicated. The halach is what you're supposed to be doing afterwards.
That's why you have to always be.
You have to remember. Sometimes it depends. Yeah, it depends. The first case, the second case. You have to remember what has to be done. What? If you forget by the first case, I don't remember. The Shulchan Aruch says I remember.
They have a share with this one. He said the second and third.
Second and third, you have to do it again. The first one, you don't have to do it again.
First and fourth, you don't.
You don't do it again. You don't do it again because the problem with the bracha. Yeah. That was sufficient leaning. You don't have to go like this. It's not a shear. You have to just sit like this. A little bit of a lean is enough. Yeah. A little bit like this to the left. You don't have to go crazy.
You will fall if it's not there.
What?
Enough that you will fall if it's not there.
Enough to you to fall that it's not there.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's
All right. I guess and then a bit more. And I understand that this is enough.
You're gonna fall if that thing's not there. The way you were leaning. If the handlebar is
You're
not
not
there,
sitting
you're
I
gonna
on
fall.
a good chair
can lean
first.
like this and still not fall. I don't think it has to be like mamish.
No, the thing you have to
You need
lean
to
on
lean on
something that if
something.
it's not there, you're gonna fall.
You can't be in really.
That if that thing will not be,
Yeah.
I'll fall. But I'll catch myself before I fall to the ground.
The whole thing that you're leaning on.
Okay, listen. I think that's enough. Maybe I'm wrong. That's what I always saw people doing. Again, my family. Yes. Thank you very much.
If you can't finish the whole cup,
Thank you very much.
Huh?
if you can't finish the whole cup shots on your beer, can you drink it off your beer?
What kind of question is that?
All
Beer
right.
becomes the bread.
Now,
Just drink slowly.
At the end of the Seder,
it's a different style.
at the end of the Seder, do you have like good brooks in your beer from like the matzah and the water?
No, but you're very careful. Don't clean out every time.
Make sure to clean it.
Yeah, for sure. People that are
Blow
careful.
dry.
All right. Now we have Orchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. Now, ideally, you're not supposed to speak from Orchatz till you're done Yachatz. And therefore, the proper minhag is those that are careful to read the instructions, which most people do. You read the instructions for Orchatz, Karpas, and then not Yachatz. I'm sorry. Orchatz and Karpas. You read both instructions before you go to wash. Now, I used to tell people that one of the big problems, one of the big shilas that come up is what happens if somebody washed and by mistake he made a bracha al netilas yadayim. We all know Urchatz, you don't make a bracha. What happens if you make a bracha? Most people say, okay, shucks, whatever, no, I'll do it again afterwards. But that's not the right thing. What you're supposed to do, if you said the bracha is, go straight to Moitzi Matzah. and do murder, and then go back again and do karpas, and it's really, really complicated. By the Rebbe Seder, someone once did that. It was a whole shaila. The Rebbe said one thing, the Rebbe said something next thing, he said something else. Sipurim. So I used to suggest that when you go to Urchatz, as you're washing for Hamoitz, for Urchatz, it's the same type of washing, just talk the whole time. And this way, as you're talking, you'll make sure that you're not going to make the bracha. However, that's wrong advice, because really you should not be talking. You have to remember not to talk at all and not make a bracha. And if you make a bracha, it's really complicated. You have to
Hum
do
the whole time.
what?
Talk about not talking.
Some people humming is not enough, then they'll still make a bracha. Yeah.
Talk about not talking.
When you wash your hands, why don't, if the whole point of washing your hands is so that they're, let's say, clean for the, so you can eat foods, then why don't we just use like hand soap?
Whenever it comes to cleaning in Torah and halacha, it's not just the physical cleaning; it's the element of spiritual cleaning. A dirty mikveh cleans you more than a clean shower. It's ruchnistic cleaning. So, I guess that would be the answer here as well. So, urchatz, as we know, the reason for urchatz is because we're about to eat the karpas dipped into salt water. So therefore, we have to wash our hands. As was mentioned, this is a chumrah which throughout the year most people are not careful about. We speak about this all the time. When people dip their cookies into their coffee, or when people dip they eat pickles with their hands, most people will not wash. But really, according to the basic halacha, you always have to wash. It's a washing 3 times, and the pashtus with the towel as well. Meaning those that are careful throughout the year, which is the minhag. This is the Chabad minhag to always wash with a towel for a meitzi. So you're supposed to do that by here as well. So now we do urchatz and then we do karpas. So the words are noitel yodav einem mevarech. Karpas noitel pachis mikazai is karpas. V'yitbel b'mei melach oy choymetz v'yevarech. It says dip it either into salt water or into choymetz, into vinegar. Nobody uses vinegar today. And what? Because today most vinegars are made out of grains. And therefore it's a problem of chametz. You could make vinegars out of other vegetables, and this way it would not be. You could make red wine, rice vinegar, apple cider vinegar. They could be made in a way kosher the Pesach, but our minhag is not to use. We only use salt water. So as we said before, some people already have a slice of an onion on their kaira. Some people have the entire onion. The point is to make a bracha on a complete peri, whatever it is. So you make the bracha, then you slice out a little piece. You eat the karpas. Do you do by haseva or not? No haseva by karpas. What do you have to have in mind when you make the bracha adomo? The murder. You have to have in mind the murder, and you're supposed to eat less than a kazai. So I'm not going to do that now because I don't have any salt water, and I don't really care to eat a red onion. But imagine it being done, and we ate the karpas, and what? I want you to go. Bye, not bye. Yes.
How much salt do you have to put in salt water? Is there like a certain amount?
No. As long as it's sold. It should be noticeable that it's sold. On Shabbos, it's a rule that it can't be more than a certain amount.
Made that up at the spot.
No, it's 2/3.
That's the max for Shabbos.
That's what I said.
Okay, so that is karpas. So now we do karpas. We dipped it inside right now. And after it's dipped inside, we do not put, our minhag is not to put the karpas back onto the kaira. We put it away. And that from now on, we only have 5 items left on the kaira. Yes? You read the minhagim of urchatz and karpas, you read before you washed. Because ideally, you could, it doesn't make a difference because the reason not to speak is not to make a hefsek. And we don't make a bracha. Usually a bracha is after the bracha, there should be hefsek. Here, there's no real hefsek anyway. There's no, you're not making mafsek from anything because there's no bracha was made from the washing. But the pile, many people will speak. Ideally, there shouldn't be speaking happening till after the karpas. Now, as you mentioned, most people, the mothers, sisters, do not have a kaira. At this point, the father or the whatever, there's a bowl on the table where the other people, or the sisters and the mothers, or if there's balabatim and mekuravim, they'll take from the bowl that's on the table the sliced onions, or the father will cut slices for them, and then they'll dip it in and make their bracha. Yeah.
If they use a kaira, then how do they have all the?
It's on the table, the bowl that all the fathers originally took from and put it onto their kaira. Now they take from there, or like I said, the father will just give it just for them. And now comes yachatz, and this is what my most people remember the best. Yachatz. So over here by yachatz is understand. So now you're supposed to do yachatz v'yikach matzah emtzois. You take the middle of matzah, u'persel l'shnayim. You break it in half. Chelak echad gadol mechaveirei. One bigger size, one smaller size. What do you do with the bigger part, Pete? Bigger piece goes for the afikoima. Now, how do you break it? So when you break it. So the way to break the matzah is you do not take it out. Who takes out the matzah and breaks it out of the kaira?
Take it out after you crack it.
Huh?
No,
So I take it out.
It's our minig is, I don't know if it's official the minig or that's what the Rebbe did. No, it says clearly in the Haggadah. We break the matzah, the minig is to break it when it's inside. Now what happens is, as you put your hands inside, usually everything goes flying. Here it's lefiyarech mesudar, but a lot of times you pick it up, everything goes flying, so you have to go and catch it, put it on again, put your hands in again, back and forth, till you finally get it, everything maneuvered. And then so how do you, so break it in half? So as this is, we like to show, so you hold it like this, and go and break, that's not a really good breaking. So what do you want to, even from underneath?
You can see which one's bigger.
You can see which is bigger, but l'chayra has to be a nice in each one. So that what we like to do is, you go like this is the best way you get a nice cut.
Bam.
And then you get a nice
How
two
do you do
halves.
that in the Cairo?
Oh, so it's not so poshut. In the kaida is not so easy to do it. Those that take it out can do it. But our
Why
meaning
can't
is
you go like
so
this?
in the kaida itself, everything will go flying. Let it go flying, but you get your nice cut. You get your karate chop.
Do it like
Boom.
this.
Huh?
Do like this.
You can do like that, but sometimes it'll still break off a piece on the side.
You break the lamatas also.
Huh?
You break the lamatas.
No, if you hold it like this and you just go inside and go like this, I think I usually get it like this, and I don't always do it, but
It's best if you have the parking garage.
it depends. It also depends how thick your matzahs are. If you have the Crown Heights matzahs, then you really have to get a sledgehammer and break it. But if you have but if it's a thin matzah going like this and pulling will sometimes break it off like that. So it's really complicated, whatever. But once you break it, what happens if you take a broke off a piece like this? What do? You break it again a second time. No official rules. All the what ifs, like the chidas of today, all the tzaras. What if? It's hard to answer the question. Ideally, try to do this, and I think usually you'll get it nice.
What if there was an end to the what if questions?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think which side is bigger.
How do you know which size is bigger?
I think I take it out.
You get a measuring
No,
tape.
after you break them, you take them out and then you measure.
You
There's a
gotta
famous
measure
story with the Tzemach Tzedek that someone was measuring what's bigger, and he said, "As a godly with that from Mestin, they better as a godly." I think the story's better over here. If you have to measure him, then it's already a shayla if he's really a godly. Whatever, that's a word. Yeah.
Just break it with your thumbs.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes, then you go like this. It'll end up on the side.
No, you put your thumbs in the middle. Or
I'm from experience. I have more experience than you. I've tried that. I've tried all the different things. But for me, the best solution is the karate chop. You can do the other things too. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of chuk on the side, and then you're stuck with the shayla. What do I do now? Is this a smaller piece or is this bigger? Huh? All right. Either way, now we did the afikoy. So we did our crack. We have two matzahs now. One is
Oh, yeah.
one is for the big one. The chayla godel yaniach lafikoymon. So I had the bigger one. So which was bigger? I don't even remember. Which one was bigger? No, which one was bigger? This one is bigger. So this one is bigger, let's say. So now what do? You put this aside for the afikoyma. Now our minig is, the Rebbe Rashav's minig is, now before you put it into the bag and put it aside, what do?
Break it into five.
Break it into 5 pieces. You break it into 5 pieces, and then
what happens if it breaks more
You
than
only
5?
break it
oh,
into
that's a
five.
famous shayla. The Rebbe Rashab was asked, and he put it away. It's a story. The Frierdiker Rebbe asked the question, and then the Rebbe Rashab said, "You're too young, asking too many questions, whatever." Kitzur, you fold it up in a bag. Some people have plastic Ziploc bags. Some people have another kind of cloth that they put it in. Some people have a napkin that they put it in. Either way, when it's done, where do you put it?
In your pillows.
You put it in your pillows. So if you have annoying kids that are going to try to steal it from you, so I'm not wearing my jacket now, but as a tati, you have to wear a kapota at the Seder, which is very, very annoying, the heat or whatever. But you put it into your jacket pocket, and this way it remains safe and sound, and no one's going to bother you.
Yeah, but what if kids find it? Then
Well, they can't
What
jump
if
into it.
they're
That's not fair. They can't pull it away from
What
you.
if they're pickpockets?
I can't come into your pocket inside.
not fair. You're cheating.
Huh?
You're cheating.
I'm cheating. Our meaning is not to steal the afikoyim. So I'm not cheating. I'm doing the right thing. Okay, who? Raise hand. Who in their houses still has the meaning of stealing the afikoyim?
It's not a minute. We just steal it.
That's a minute. You still do it. In which houses there's a no steal afikoyim?
No stealing.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, we're getting
No
somewhere.
signal.
Stealing means going to your father's afikoyim and taking it away and not giving it back to him until he promises you a price.
Oh.
You don't get the prices though. We just
Oh yeah,
We just
say
steal
it.
it just so that we can say how I got it.
Yeah, say it. That's a secondary, whatever. You can do that too. But the minig is not to steal it. But yeah, even that's also annoying, just to put a little away. So you have the afikoyman, you put it inside your pocket, or you put it. What?
Obviously.
I tell my kids the minig is not to steal it. The minig
That's
is
why
full.
they steal it.
It's very annoying.
Oh.
Mental. No, he wanted a set of svardim. I promise I never did. It's not a print. I couldn't.
If you tell them that you don't have to steal
So
it.
then this is put away somewhere. It's going to be to be determined. And then we put the, okay, this is broken into two, but the other piece is put back inside the kaira. So this is the smaller piece is back inside, and the bigger piece is aside. Now we move on to Umagi. Okay, so Umagi, Umagbia, kaira sheyesh ba matzis v'yomer. So it says you lift the kaira. So he wants to steal that for Koyman. Bakash. Huh?
Yes. Sneaky boy Nico.
So it says in Magbiya Kaida Sheish Bamatzis v'Yomer. So he's supposed to lift the kaida. Our minig is not to lift the kaida. Rather, our minig is huh? Our minig is to uncover it. Uncover what? Which matzahs?
All of them.
The first and second matzah. The first and second only. First and second matzah, you fold a little bit, huh? You broke it, but the part of it that was not broken, you put back inside. That was broken. The second half, you put back inside, and you're supposed to show the part that's not broken out, and that they're both sticking outwards. Yes. You have to reveal the top. The first and second one should both be visible. Top and the second.
How do you do that when it's napkins?
Huh?
How do you do
You
it?
fold it. Drink.
If I capture this stuff, what do you do? All right, and then afterwards, now we say Hey Lachmanya. So now here's the next question: how does in which house does one person read out loud the entire Agadah, and everyone reads it quietly? Only by you. By you, it's not like that. You don't remember.
Two different seders.
Okay, by you also, one person reads out loud and everyone reads quietly. Okay, and which house do they have that every paragraph a different person reads out loud and everyone else follows quietly? You do both? You forget. The second thing. So nobody has one person reading out. Many people. Who has everyone reads out loud together? Okay, so there's different ways of doing it. Huh?
We do it quietly together.
Huh? Depends which parts. By the Rebbe Seder, the minig was that there was one person, not the Rebbe, this Rabbi Katz you mentioned before, he would read out loud the entire time, and everybody, he said the fear kashas, he answered questions. But his father read out loud, everybody else read quietly, including the Rebbe read quietly.
Flat now, Rabbi Katz.
Huh? Oh, it fits exactly. Okay, now when you say it, so there's an official tune, there's an official niggin that's always, I mean, again, this is what I was told and I heard from everybody else also, so I'll say the tune, and if you have a similar tune, you'll raise your hand at the end. Hey, lachman yod yachol abasana biyaro de Mitzrayim kol dich fin yesei v'yechol kol ditzrich yesei v'yifsoch hashato chol l'shon habo barad Yisrael hashato avdin l'shon habo b'nei chayrin. Who has that tune?
Not for Hilachmanya.
Not for Lachmanya.
What?
You sing it.
That's the tune. So you don't have that tune?
We do.
You do have that tune, so I asked you, raise your hand. Who has that tune? Raise your hand. Oh, very few. Who has a random tune whenever you read it?
No, we have the Sfardi.
You have a specific tune.
I'm serious.
You put pillowcases on your back.
No, Bakasha.
Yeah,
You know,
the
matzah?
kite over his head. No, the whole kite. Yeah.
What's that? You have to.
No, it's part of the minute. It's part of the minute. It's part of the minute, Rabbi.
All right. After Hey Lachman, so now that's done. Now that we're done with Lachmania, Misalkin al Kaida im Amatzis.
Yeah, that's also.
Two started.
It's been like he's strong.
It's Minix Fard.
No, it's been like he's strong.
All right. Misalkin al Kaida im Amatzis letzad Acher.
What? I did it for you before you. This guy's a faker. Rabbi, it's my minute. He stole it from me. He stole it.
He stole the murder.
Yeah, by the way.
So here it says that you move the kaida aside. Our minig is just to cover the matzahs that have been uncovered before. You cover the matzahs again, and now you pour a second cup of wine, and kana ben shoyel manishtana.
Yo, Rabbi, calm down. You gotta drive home.
He just said he doesn't.
All right, now that we have this, so now what happens manishtana? So here, this is the time where the couch first comes into service. Depending how many cousins, nieces, nephews are there at the Shabbat, at the Seder plate. So what happens usually is every single let's do this. Let's do the survey. And how many homes does only one person ask the manishtana? I mean out loud. No. And how many homes do all the children under bar mitzvah And Bas asked Manishtana? And how many homes do all the unmarried children, even if the overnight to say the Manishtana out loud?
We do like 3 different
Different times, different story. And how many homes do even the married children ask themselves Manishtana?
Not themselves.
I'm saying each child asks
They
his
ask
father
the
directly.
parents.
So as you see, there's different ways of doing it. And that depends how long you have to start. So when the little kids get up, so then the little girl goes up on her chair and she stands up over there, and she looks around and she no. And her mother says, and she starts crying, and it's not her sister, whatever, and they have to go down again, and whatever. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, so that's different ways of doing it. But really, the simplest way is only one kid that's mature enough to ask the questions clearly, and we move on. But most people.
Yeah, but there more is ready to tomorrow.
Well, one thing I have about Bakosha, Emir Hashem, you're going to get married one day, and very possible some of your wives will be mowers in the kindergarten. Please minimize it. Don't give them so much stuff. They come, and each kid has to have all these papers and
Paper
plastics,
bag.
and it's such a big headache. What's that for his husband? Tell the kid that is we have Mitzrayim, and let the father do all the rest. After come, each kid has to tell the parents all what he learned already. I'm asking you, you know what I'm
It doesn't
talking
make
about.
any sense.
They have to come with all their arts and crafts.
Take away all their
Every single-
chinuch, basically.
The chinuch, they tell them everything about. Don't make the arts and crafts. You forgot to give it. I don't know. No, I mean my personal irrigation. We're not mixing in. Also, the kids said Amaisa. Every kid gets up in most homes for sure under bar mitzvah. Some houses, as we see, over bar mitzvah. Some houses even after they're married. And everyone says to their father one at a time. You ask all the 4 questions. And then, finally, when we're done, it can take an easy hour in many houses. I'm telling you, no joke. And a half. Mamish, this could be the longest part of the Seder. If you have a lot of cousins, some houses you have 20, 30 cousins that are all running around. If they call each one and it goes by youngest, oldest, he's old, his cousin, whatever. It's a tutzach. Everyone knows if you have bigger families, you know what I'm talking about. Akopanim, finally, we're done, we're ready to move on. So you bring the kaira back to you, and you reveal the pas, meaning you again uncover again the top 2 matzahs, and now we start Avad Me'av Chulu. So now the minig is by most homes. We'll see who does it. The survey that before you say the words Avad Me'inu, you start off under teretz is Avad Me'inu l'fahar b'Mitzrayim. Who does that? Only 2. That's it. No one else does on the teretz
Yiddish
is.
speaker, that's why.
What?
Yiddish speaker.
That's the minute. That's our minute. All right. So that's my minute. I think many people do that. This is years we had the least response to that. Most years I got more responses for that. Akapanim, some people apparently don't. And then you start reading. And now you read on. So now the way was the Rebbe Seder, the way by the Rebbe Seder Mamish, the guy read out loud, and everyone read quietly. And the way they say that the Rebbe would read paragraph by paragraph, and the Rebbe would go ahead of what the Chazan, so to speak, was up to, the Makri, and the Rebbe would have to read his Pirushim. The Rebbe had also Agod of the Arizal, read those Pirushim there, and the guy got up him and weiter. And they continue going. So now, as was mentioned, many homes have a minig that everyone reads together, and many homes have a minig that each person reads a paragraph. They read the paragraph, and then comes the interpretations, the translations, the explanations, and the vartoyers that everybody has. And this can take a very, very long time. And it depends how many kids are at the table. It depends if there's balabatim at the table, mikuram that don't really know much. What ends up happening throughout Maghrib? What? By Shulchan Aruch? That would be an amazing idea. But the problem is that the kids have I have a Dvar Torah at this piece. My mother said over here, I have to say the Dvar Torah. Only the second night by you guys. The first night, no Dvar Torahs. Only a couple by Shulchan Aruch. Okay, so that's a very good minig. You should adopt that minig. Even if your parents don't have that minig, it's like one I can suggest to overrule your parents to try to cancel all the Dvar Torahs. I haven't done it, but what? It just takes forever. It's so annoying. I have to hear every year again and again that the Rosh sits next to the Chacham because they're the same effort. Come on, it's something new. But whatever, the same varieties go around and get recycled. That's all the same things. And every kid has to say the same thing, and they say it over and over again. Once in a while, a more has a geschmack of something I didn't hear before. But most of the time, it just drags on forever, and the kids get annoyed and it's assaulted. It just tons. But that's a very good minig. Shalom's a good minig is that only by Shulchan Aruch that also you said, and only the second night. But many people, it has the second night is usually less because all excitement was the first night. The second night they don't have no patience anymore. I understand. So most people the opposite. They say the first night, second night everyone's finished. They don't have nothing to say already. So then second night goes easier. Yeah.
We have much more stuff.
Much more than people talking.
Please say.
Explanation. So that's the kiviyachol based on the minute that
The second night
after
is already
chatzos.
disappeared.
Huh?
The second night is already disappeared.
Yeah, they got lost from yesterday when they got cleaned up. They threw them out. All right, so b'poyel we say avodim ayinu, and we say whatever is here, ilas HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and read all the lashonos over here. And really, when people study the Haggadah, this is where the study begins. For example, the famous question is, what is the actual answers to the questions? Like, the guy asked the question, so there's a whole pilpul out. This shtickle avodim ayinu has the answers to 4 questions, and actually some is an interesting beer that I like to share always, is that we always say that our nusach is that tadech obadifregen 4 kashas. But some people say no, it's a question with 4 answers. Because in the words of the Haggadah, if you skip out all the Yiddish parts, man nishtana alaylas and mikol alaylas. That's the question. Answer number 1. What's the difference? What's the anders? What's the difference? Answer number 1. Difference is shebekol alaylas einan amatmin nafilu b'machas. Answer number 2. It's different because of the matzah v'chulu v'chulu. That's a nice shot that I like. But this blisay pirushim, as we said before. Huh?
You have 5 questions.
What's the 5th question?
Why is it Mashiach?
Huh? You ask at Moshe at the end of every time.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Why is it Mashiach here?
You ask that also every time?
Yeah.
And I know it. What's the answer?
You
You might think of answer.
because we're beloved.
Ah, I agree, yeah.
There's no good answer.
Huh?
No good answer.
What?
Yes, there's no good answer.
The Rebbe said what?
There's no good answer.
Yeah, yeah. I know you should ask it now, but the 5th question. Okay, and then we saw with Maisa, but Rebbe Eliezer here also. Yeah, what are the 4 of the 5 people in the order that how they're sitting? The Rebbe's Biyurim at the bottom, what the Cheshbon is, and you continue weiter and weiter and weiter, and you can share Divrei Torah here all the time, explaining everything. And it's broken up into sections, just as Maisa Rebbe Eliezer, the way it's in paragraphs. But before we get into the sections, just a word that from my father that I like to share every year, and that is, if you look at the Haggadah, so this is the Avodim Ayinu starts over here. If you look, this is a continuous Magid, continues, and suddenly the fonts become smaller. For 5 pages, here's 5 pages, other ones it's less. It's big fonts and suddenly becomes smaller, and then suddenly it gets bigger again. And then afterwards it gets smaller again. And then it's big, small. What's going on? So my father's explanation is like this, is that when they sit down to the Haggadah, sit down to Magid, there's a very big excitement in the year because all the kids have their Dvar Torahs and everyone's all hyped up about it and everyone's saying we're going to say Magid, that we're going to share, and they say Adad Avodim Ayinu, and they continue with Ma'aseh Rebbe Eliezer, Omer Rebbe Eliezer, and then they go Chacham Ha'omer, and go on and on and on and on. And after a few pages of screaming and shouting and Divrei Torah with a big chayas, eventually someone asks, isn't anybody hungry? Yeah, you're starving. Maybe let's just, well, tomorrow's another night because of the next night. Okay, let's just move on already. Okay, fine. No more Dvar Torah till tomorrow. And zip through the next paragraph. And when they're done the next paragraph, they look around at each other. That's not Magi. That's not the way it's supposed to be done. You have to say with a gishmak. So they say, go loud again. And when they're done, someone says, I know it's not right, but still, I really started. And then they go again. And then from here, the fight continues back and forth, big and small, till finally we make it all the way to finish. That's my father. That fits in the classical prints. Of course, many prints today have them all small, all big, based on these cheshbonos, as we can say. All right, so Bekitzer continues now. Baruch Hamokim Baruch Hu, and then we have the Arba Bonim. Who has a minute to point? Echad Chacham, the Echad Rasha.
Siblings.
Huh?
No.
Your siblings do that. There's a minute that says it's not a minute.
No, we have 4 brothers, and each one says the Chacham Rasha.
Yeah, that's
It changes
How much
over,
is
it's
it?
Yeah. No. Each one
Yeah, it's the question.
Is it Bekvias or
Yeah, it's big face.
Oh wow.
No, each one has a
Each
section.
one has his section. I'm the Sheni Delish.
Oh, because you're the 4th.
Yeah.
So your second, the Rosh is happy with doing this Rosh?
Yeah, it fits perfectly.
It fits perfectly. I guess they didn't know you. Okay, but some people like to point out Echad Chacham, Echad Rasha. That's only a joke. And then you go through Chacham Ha'omer, and there's beauty galore. Chacham's question, the Chacham's answer. Rasha Ha'omer. And then it says by the Rasha, it says V'afata Haki Yeshinov. What does Haki Yeshinov mean?
Break his teeth. Play hockey with his teeth.
How is that a good answer?
Because he said Shvat.
He play hockey with his teeth.
You play hockey with his teeth. So Emer Lois, and there's Biyurim, Libe Loy Loy, and then Tamal Emer, and then V'She'en Yidei Al Yisrael, And then we start mitchila evdi avodah zarah. So really, this whole section from the Arba Abanim, from the Baruch Hamakim Baruch Hu, till mitchila is like a kind of introduction on introduction, because the first Avodah Minu is like the basic answers to the questions, and that's really answering the general thing. Then the Maisa and Abraham Elazar is like another section to bring out the Maila of talking about Yitzias Mitzrayim. It's a hemshich to the Kol Amar the Saper. And then the four Banim, the Arba Banim is like another thing to talk. And then Mitchila is really the beginning of the Agodah. The Gemara it says that what he's supposed to talk about, Maschel Bignus, you start off with our negativity, the part that our ancestors that were not Gesh, as they say, a part of us that come from the bad places. So we have to mention that as well. And the Rebbe famously says that this is a reference to the fifth son. This is the Rebbe's beer. That the Oivdei Avodah Zarah is that the people that are Mechlan not Shaykhs Yiddishkeit, seemingly, that's the Rebbe of the fifth son. So we start with that, and then we go through Psukim. And then...
Do you point at the fifth son?
And then Baruch Shem Raftachas Yisrael, Baruch Hu. And then you finish this. And then comes the V'hisha Amda. So by Beruchush Gadol, right before V'hishamda, so it says you have to be Magbiyas HaKois Ulechaseis HaPas. You pick up the cup and cover the matzah. However, the Rebbe says in the bottom, the minig obviously is the first to cover the matzah, and it shouldn't be seen that it's embarrassed that the cup is picked up, and then you pick up the cup. And then, so this is what most people sing V'hishamda, right? Who sings V'hishamda, the regular Bav Chanigan? What?
We sing like 7 different tunes.
On V'hishamda. Some people just read it regular. Some people just read it, some say other meaning, but most people will sing it. They sing V'hishamda, and when they're done, they put it down again. You can lift it up. So most people will lift up the cup for itself. Some people will lift up an entire bowl like this, whatever is simpler. And then when you're done singing V'hishamda, then what?
Hold it like Kiddush.
Yeah, and then the Yamid HaKois V'yigala HaPas. You put the becher back on the table, and again you uncover the two matzahs, the first and second layer of matzah.
Basically the one is reference to Mashke, V'hishamda L'Avisenu.
Oh, so that's not the way to point out. It says V'hishamda L'Avisenu. What is the he? What was something which stood by our parents, our forefathers? What is this he? What are we talking about?
The wine, the alcohol.
Huh?
The alcohol.
Now, what's the pasha of pshat?
Huh? Armuna.
No? Nobody knows. The answer is the promise of Hashem by Bris Ben Absar is the he. The haftacha that Hashem promised us that He's going to take care of us. That's what's on that. That's what kept us going all these years. And now also we're in this terrible situation in Israel right now. So this promise of Hashem keeps us going and saves us from all the tzaras that are about to come upon us. Yes.
You have to do like Kiddush?
Lo shomea?
You do like Kiddush?
When you pick up the like Kiddush, do you have to? It says to pick it up. Most people will do it like Kiddush. Well, ask the survey. Who picks up by Visham the like Kiddush like this regular?
Oh, yeah.
Who just picks up the whole bowl? No, but you. The whole bowl you pick up? So most people like that. Well, I don't know if it's necessary, but most people do it like that. So that's the minute. Yeah. Lo shomea? I don't know. If that's the people that were there. I don't know the details. There's so many. When you go through it, you notice that there's like, even the people when they say over the Seder, like Rabbi Ofen, he goes through it, he can't touch about every single detail. You have to ask him. Some things by him it'll be obvious that that's how the Rabbi did it, but you're not going through it, you're not going to know. All right, now, Tzei Ulmad, Nabikesh Lavan Arami, what Lavan wanted to do to Yaakov Avinu. And then we have over here something which in the Gutnik Haggadah, anyone has a Gutnik Haggadah at home? The Gutnik Haggadah is a very, very good Haggadah. Besides the Pirushim and the layout and all that, the Gutnik Haggadah has what is very good about it, that specifically this section from Tzei Ulmad till, I'm just showing this print, from Tzei Ulmad till after the 10 Makkos, till here, it's really what's happening now in these 3-4 pages, is basically taking 4 psukim of Parshas Kisavai and taking each pasuk and breaking it up into small sections and explaining what part of the word. So, for example, the first pasuk, yeah. So we call Shenemar Arami Oived Avi Vayered Misraima. Huh? Vayagar Sham Bimseimat Vayisham Legoy Gadol Atzum V'Rav. So this is a pasuk that we say over here. So the pasuk has the words Arami Oived Avi, then Vayered Mitzrayim. The next paragraph begins Vayered Mitzrayim and explains Anus Alpia Dibur. Then the words Vayagar Sham, that's a continuation of the previous pasuk. So basically, this entire paragraph up till here is all taking this pasuk of Arami Evedavi, taking word by word, or 2 words by 2 words, and explaining each one of them what it means, or bringing sources, bringing other psukim that explain it. So that's what's happening now. This pasuk being explained. And then by Yereyu Eisanu, that's a second pasuk which continues after Arami Evedavi in Kisavai. And then we have this pasuk, and then afterwards. So the way the layout here is very confusing. It looks like it's just paragraph after paragraph, but really it's a whole cheshbon. It's a pasuk, and then each pasuk in the good thing I got, like I said, I have each the words highlighted, and then like a thing, and then the explanation afterwards. So it's this 4 psukim. Is Vayoreyu, then is Vainitzak El Hashem Elokei Aviseinu, and then there is right. That entire time, it's very, very frustrating.
She's getting out of hand.
She's getting out of hand. And then there's Vayitziyenu Hashem Mitzrayim. So here there's also Biyurim of the Rebbe on the bottom, and Sichas explaining all what's going on over here. All right, now, so the last pasuk of the 4 psukim is Vayitziyenu Hashem Mitzrayim b'yad chazako v'zroya netuya v'moira gadol v'oisis v'moifsi. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, so the pasuk lists.
What? He sprayed water on me.
How much a baby?
If you should get like
Hey, look at me. I was sitting here and he came here.
I'll see you first.
Put the little kids better.
So this pasuk Vayitziyenu Hashem Mitzrayim, this is, till now I was just reading and explaining or not. But this pasuk will lead us into another part of things that have to be done. So again, this pasuk has 5 lists.
It's spreading.
What's it over there?
Leave it.
Let Mary go there.
Yeah.
There.
So the pasuk Vayitziyenu Hashem Mitzrayim lists 5 things: Yod Chazaka, Zroya Netuya, Meira Gadol, Oisos, and Moifsi. So what are these 5 things? So that's what the Baal HaGadah continues. First he says, what's Vayitziyenu Hashem Mitzrayim? He has all lichas, and he says, Yod Chazaka is Dever, Zroya Netuya is Cherev, and Meira Gadol is Gilui Shchina, and Oisos is Mata, and Moifsim is Dom. So that's how he explains what the 5 items are of the pasuk. And then for the pasuk of Moifsim Zehadom, which is a famous. If you learn Haggadah, it doesn't make sense. Like you're singling out from the 10 makas, you're only mentioning 2 of the makas or 3 of the makas, Dever and Dom and Cherev, which Locheres makas b'Cheres. Other than that, you're not mentioning anything else. What's the cheshbon?
What's the other one saying? What are the other 2?
You'll see the Haggadah inside. You'll see it.
But you said like
You can see inside. The 3 makas, Gilui Shchina, and Mata. So when you say b'moifsim za'adom, so then it brings a pasuk v'nasati moifsim because everything that he says, he brings a pasuk to prove it. He says v'nasati moifsim b'shamayim v'aretz dam v'eish v'sim v'sashal. So here we have the next active part of the Haggadah. The next active part of the Seder is after reading is.
it's right. That's how you know that it's
So here we have the minig of pouring the wine to connect it to the way it says in the Haggadah. You're having that the kois say the malchus, and you're pouring out af and zam into kli shavar, which is say that klipa shenikras or. So this is the next instruction. So the instruction's in the middle of a pasuk. Some people will want to say the instruction before they begin the pasuk. I'm not sure if that's necessary, but you say the instructions and then you pour the wine into a cup. So here we have a minig again. This is the Rebbe's minig. The Rebbe's minig is that the cup, the bowl that he pours the wine into, is on the floor. Who has that minig?
Oh yeah.
Who has it on the table? Pouring on the table. So that's what. So and I grew up was always on the table. But then I heard this minig and I saw people do it. Also, so I do it as well. Now, for the bowl that you're supposed to pour in, so it's supposed to be a cracked bowl. Many people, as we went through this before a few days ago, many people use only have anyway disposable. So if it's anyway only disposable. So some people go crack a disposable bowl, but on Yom Tov itself it's problematic. When it's breaking a kli, it's a neilad, it's a muktzah, it's a problem.
Like complete.
Ah,
Because now you can use it.
I don't know, but it's also an issue. But but if you remember, you're supposed to, if using a disposable, you should break it off beforehand, and then before Yom Tov. And if not, it can be a disposable that's not broken. That's also fine. I mean, the Chatchil it says a kli shaber. So then you pour it out, and again, it's like I said, the Rebbe's minhag is to pour on the floor, to put it on the floor, and then when you're done the first time, so here I just want to explain the davar acher. What's davar acher? Miyot chazak l'shtayim. So if you get distracted because you're pouring the wine, as I mentioned before, this is all explaining the pasuk V'yitziyenu Hashem, which lists 5 items. Yot chazaka, zroya letuya, meir gad, v'oisis u'meivsi. So he had one explanation what the 5 items are. That one is Dever, and then there's Cherev, and as we said before. Now he says Davar Acher, a second shot in the pasuk. A second shot in the pasuk is that the 5 items listed over here is each one referencing 2 of the makkos. So Biyat Chazaka is Shtayim, B'Zreya Tuya Shtayim, and so on. So altogether you have 10 makkos, and then we say the 10 makkos. One after that, and again we pour the wine all together. So we pour 3 the first time for Dam, Eish, Timris, Ashon, then another 10 for the 10 makkos, and then again by the Tzach Hadash Ba'achad. So here also the bowl goes around the table or around the floor, however you do it, and everybody pours the wine. So here is the story that we like to say, because every time I say the story, Bachim come afterwards and ask me to write it down for them. So I'll say the story now, and if you want me to write it down afterwards, I can.
You don't have it typed up yet?
So the story goes, they say like this. They say that there was one time a Galach that came to the Tzemach Tzedek, and he told the Tzemach Tzedek about the famous tzara that Yidden have suffered so much from, which is the blood libel. And he had said, this Galach told the Tzemach Tzedek, I have a proof that you guys use blood in your masses, because it says it in the Agada itself. So the Tzemach Tzedek said, what are you saying? In the Agada itself, it mentions about what does it say? So the Galach said, obviously, you're not going to write it as is, you're going to make it Rosh Hashanah, but it's in the Tzach Hadash Ba'achav. What? So you need Rosh Hashanah for you just said the 10 makkos. What does it really stand for? So the Galach, who was a learned man, he knew Lashon Kodesh, he said, it stands for Dam Tzrichim Kulchem, all of you need blood, Al Dvar Sheharaktem, because you killed, Ben Keil Chai Bashamayim, the Son of God in heaven. And that is why you need blood. So here you say it in that God. So the Tzemach Tzedek answered him on the spot, and he said just the opposite. This is the place where we put in the word to show that it's false blood libels. And what it stands for is Divrei Tzdukim Kazav, the words of Tzdukim, people that don't believe in the Torah, is false. Alilas Dam Sheker, blood libels are false. B'nei Avram Chalila Bazois, the descendants of Avram Avinu, God forbid they should ever use blood. So that was on the spot kind of answer.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was written. Huh? Mayor will share what's written down. All right, so that is all the drasha. So this from Tzeyul Mad till now is basically one section. It's broken into paragraphs, but it's one section of darshaning the 4 psukim with their sources for that. Now we move on.
I have one question. Like the Galach said that he showed that you have to use blood from a child. But how does he prove that being like in the matzah itself?
You're right. The part wasn't in the matzah. It was bechad that we need blood. Explain why we need the blood. The next section is the Rabbi Yosi Aglili and Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva, which is talking about the makkos, how many makkos there were. So Rabbi Yosi Aglili says it was 10 and 50, and Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva each say that each makkah was divided into either 4 or 5. So instead of being 10 and 50, it ends up being either 40 and 200 or 50 and 250. And there's a sefer where the Rebbe quotes at the bottom, Tefillah L'Moshe. The Rebbe writes that Tefillah L'Moshe, he actually specifies and he goes through what are the 250 makkos. He goes through each one of them. So when I was a bacher, I had a Haggadah, I don't know where it is, that had Pianuchi. Pianuchi means many of the Rebbe's sources, a copy pasted from the original had it. So in the back of my Haggadah, I remember, I had like 3-4 pages of going through the 250 makkos. However, don't get excited, it's like the shir that we had on the 50 makkos that were Beis Yis Mitzrayim. it's almost none of the things there are new. It's all this, he banged this way and banged that way. And the floor became hard and the floor became hot to Kriyas Yamsuf. So it's maybe a few things that are new, but the majority of the makkahs that are mentioned over there are things that you're familiar. It just breaks it up into more and more protein to get into 250.
Do you ever share about Seder?
No, I don't have that good anymore. I'm sure you can find it, I don't have it. Then we move on to Ilu Eitzionu and the Dayenu. Ilu Eitzionu and the Dayenu. So here is something which also some people are not aware of, but it says in the Haggadah that our minig is, it's in the Rebbe's instructions at the bottom, not on top. And the minig is that we do not make a hefsek throughout Dayenu, which means throughout the Dayenu, some people many people sing it, right? Most people sing it? Yeah, most people sing the Dayenu, only the last one. So as you're singing, whenever there's a song, some people will start talking in the middle. It says that you're not supposed to mafsik in throughout the Dayenu. You have to say all the way, you can sing it, but you're not any kind of hefsik, and you continue saying until the end of the Alachas Kama V'chamo, read all things. And here also there are many biurim of what it's all about, what are these things. So actually, I forgot I wanted to mention before, the paragraph of Abisi Aglili, there's something unique in this paragraph, and that is, in this paragraph of Abisi Aglili, as Ramakis, this is the only place in the entire Haggadah that Moshe Rabbeinu's name is mentioned. Moshe Rabbeinu is not mentioned throughout the entire Seder, the whole Seder. Even though Moshe Rabbeinu is the star of Yitzias Mitzrayim, he is the one that took us out of Mitzrayim, and he's the one that performed the Tamakas and together with his brother Aaron and Kriyas Yamsuf was Moshe Rabbeinu. Yet his name is mentioned only once in the entire Seder, and even this one time, according to some Girsois, his name is not mentioned. And this is a shayla that people like to ask: why not? Why isn't Moshe Rabbeinu's name mentioned throughout the Seder? What? And for Parshas Tetzaveh's name is not mentioned, but the same explanation is not mentioned over here. So why is it not mentioned? So there's the Misnagdim had a pshat. This is when the Chassidim, when they make machlokes in the Misnagdim and the Chassidim. So the Gra or Talmidei Agra said, because they wanted to bring out, they said because it's only Hashem. It's the tzaddik. It's all about the Eibishter. That was one of the big things that had against the Chassidim, that the Chassidim were so to speak worshiping the Rebbeim. They didn't like that, so they said that no, it's all about Hashem, not Moshe, and that's why here's not mentioned either. But then there's another famous pshat, which is Vapashas not true, but it's a cute pshat that people say, that this answers another famous question: who was the one that wrote the Haggadah? We do not know who was the one that put together the Haggadah. Nobody knows. So the answer to the question would be Moshe Rabbeinu himself wrote the Haggadah. And the explanation goes better because they say that the first year that he left Mitzrayim, they had to perform the Seder. That was the first thing they had a Korban Pesach. They were in the desert, and when they had to perform the Seder, so at that point they were told to say over the story of what happened last year. We were all there. We all saw it. There was only one family that wasn't there: Moshe Rabbeinu's children. Everybody else had been there. Moshe Rabbeinu's children, as we know, when Moshe came to Mitzrayim, he brought Tzipora and his kids out and told them, "What are you bringing them here?" Everyone's suffering, send them back home. But later they came. They came by Matan Torah after Yitzias Mitzrayim. Now that they're here, the only person saying over the story, the song was Moshe Rabbeinu. And when he said it, he didn't mention his own name. He just went without his name. And everyone gathered around to hear how he's saying it, and they copied it from there. It's a very cute word. There's no source for that word. It's probably not true, but it's a nice word to share. Yeah.
Somehow this part that put tonight.
Huh? Everything from Tanoim and Amiram comes from Torah as well. Everything in Torah is Torah Shabbat was given to us by Harsi and Ayos. Of course, everything. All the Torah that we have, yeah. Everything was there before. Everything was there before. Everything was there before. Everything was there before, but regardless, see, they had a Korban Pesach. They didn't have they did a Zeicha. They had a Korban Pesach. It's obviously, it could say that even according to this pshat, things were added. Because things were definitely added over the years. You see, different Haggadahs had different parts. So things were added later. What? Aramaic words, but that's not a kasha.
Also, the only place it mentions it by Minu Hashem Meshavde, even more so.
To answer back to the Mishnah. Yeah, okay. And then we have, I'm just going to drink because I don't know how long it passed already since I drank the first time, and it shouldn't be half-sick on the bracha. I'm not making another bracha. But the Seder, one of the big shilas, you make a new bracha for every cup of wine. Why is that? The big shilah, according to Allah, why do you make a new bracha on every cup of wine?
The first one is probably
That's what that does.
You don't make a bracha achrein. You didn't make a bracha achrein. It's a half-sick fine, but you don't make a bracha achrein before. And then between the second and between the third and fourth, it's mamish a short amount of time usually, and you make a separate bracha. It's every kais has his own chshivas, has to get his own bracha. But we're not making the Santa Seder now, so I can't do that.
Pesach night is on Tuesday, first day of Pesach.
Monday night.
Monday night or Tuesday night?
Physically.
And now we conclude the Seder. Now we're coming up to the end of Magid, where Rabbi Gamliel would say, whoever didn't say these three things on Pesach, lo yotze dechevasoi, ve'elu in Pesach matzah morer. So the bottom the Rebbe brings that it's not just saying the words; it's explaining what they mean. However, there's also need in saying the words. So my father-in-law used to have a big Seder, and my wife remembers as kids that they would have come to the Seder and have tens or maybe even hundreds of people that were there. They made a Seder specifically was for Russian, not even by the children, people that came out of Russia, they were living in the area, and they would have by the Seder, so they all came to eat. But as whoever makes a public Seder knows, most of the people are not sitting around and reading that God that they'll get together with you. Most of the people are just waiting for the food, and it's very strange to them that they're just sitting and reading. We came for a meal. But so usually what happens is the shliach, the one running Seder, zips through it very quickly, says a few Dvarim out loud, and it goes straight to Magid, and the Rachta Meitzimat, and then throughout Shulchan Aruch they talk more. However, this part, so my father would always get up, and he would scream out loud, everyone repeat after me, Pesach, Matzah, Mortar. Everyone said that. At least they should say those words, and obviously explain as much as he can, at least to say those words, and then we continue. Pesach, Shoy V'Seinu Eichlim. See the next paragraph, yeah?
My great grandfather Uncle Yasser used to do say it a bunch of times, and we do it as a joke.
Pesach Matzah Mortar.
And whoever didn't say it, Pesach Matzah. And whoever didn't say it,
Yeah, okay.
Grandfather, also your uncle. You said your grandfather, Uncle Yassi.
Sat your mom.
You know.
It's weird on your part. It's not weird on my part.
My great grandpa also says his name.
No, it's not. The fact that it annoys you, it didn't annoy anyone else. It's really weird.
All right. After finishing the Pesach, then we move on to Matzah. I mean, Matzah is shown here. It says Noitel Aprusa Biyod. It says to hold on to the Matzah. We don't hold on to the Matzah. Where we put our hands, and we put both hands on both matzahs, on the top and the middle one, and we keep our hand what?
Not on the bottom.
No, only the top, the first and second one. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. You know, no, I'm sorry, the opposite. Whoa, I'm sorry, opposite. The bottom two. I made a mistake. You hold the bottom two, not the top one. Thank you. The second and the third one. If to look inside always. Not the top, correct? The second and third one, you hold the second and third one, and you hold it. You put your hands on it until the second al shum. Al shum, and then you continue weiter, and then you go until the noitel motor biyodi. So by motor as well, we put our hands on both of them, on the motor and the chazaras. Motor and the chazaras together, and the same thing al shum. And then we continue till Asher Nishba Laviseinu. So now, here in the Agoda, in the instruction that says one thing, and the minig is something else. The instruction says, now you cover your matzah, and you hold your cup of wine until the end of Magid, till the end of the bracha, which means by the two paragraphs of Hallel as well. However, our minig is not to do so. Our minig is that we put it down after the words Alleluia, and then we say the two paragraphs of Hallel without holding the kais. And then the bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem, we hold it again, we pick it up again, and then...
Holding it like a becher?
Yes, hold it like a becher, because now you're going to drink it. So for sure at this point, by the first paragraph, by Lefichach, that maybe yeah, maybe not, but by the second paragraph, by Baruch Atah, sure you pick it up. And then here also, before you begin the bracha, you read the end part, Umevarech v'sheisa ba'aseiva, and then you pick up the cup, and you drink second cup.
Calm down.
Okay, it's the third time you made that joke.
Luckily we have 2 more cups.
What?
not of wine.
It's annoying, right?
What?
It's 100 times worse, but you say joke 100 times, not 1 or 2 times. All right, some are interested.
At least it's funny the first time.
By the Rebbe Seder, it's also a thing that the Rebbe would do. The Rebbe would use many, many napkins. From the beginning of the Seder, I mentioned before about squeezing the mortar, throughout the Seder, the Rebbe is constantly using many, many napkins. And every time he finished using a napkin, he threw it on the floor. And the story goes that one of the Bachim that were helping over there, meaning besides that we mentioned that many Bachim came to watch and observe, they were Bachim that Chatila was their job to actually serve, like a waiter kind of thing. So one of the Bachim wanted to pick up the Rebbe's napkins, The Rebbe touched it. The Rebbe said, don't touch it. According to some versions, the Rebbe said it's chametz. But most people that said chametz, Rebbe said don't touch this on the floor. You shouldn't be touching it on the floor. But the and that's another thing.
Never ever gonna wash it.
Scraps when they took out the food.
Shirayim for sure, all the years.
I'm never ever gonna wash it.
All shirayim, yeah. Nothing that falls on the floor is chametz. Whatever falls on the floor, we don't eat. That's the difference between chametz and eating. Huh? We don't use it. What? Whatever we don't use, but we don't. Calling it chametz is a big deal. That means you have to burn it now. It's not chametz. But we don't use whatever falls on the floor. I don't think so. That's what I know.
That same buffer is took them off after.
Probably, maybe later he took them. Yeah, it's very possible. One day someone's going to come out and say these are not going to be used. All right, so that's finishing off Beir Pri Hagofen. And now,
Fun stars.
now we're moving on to about to get into Shulchan Aruch, where we have a few big bumps along the road, namely Motor and Kodesh.
That's the whole Shulchan Aruch.
So now, so here what I said before about you walk by saying Urchatz and Karpas, now this is even less people are aware of this. Before you wash, you're supposed to read the instructions for Rachza, Maitzi, Matzah, Maror, Kodesh. Supposed to read all, because ideally you should not be talking from when you wash. You're not supposed to be talking until after Kodesh. Because when you're going to wash, so obviously till you make a bracha, till a maitzi, you don't talk. Now we always do. But when you're making a maitzi, you're supposed to have in mind also the kodesh. And therefore you shouldn't be hefsek until the kodesh. Of course, when there are children around and if you're a shliach and there's balabatim, you have to talk to them, it's fine. But ideally, if you don't have that responsibility, you shouldn't be talking, and therefore you have to say everything. So,
What about the first time, by the first washing? You said that ideally you shouldn't be talking.
right, because there shouldn't be a hefsek between the washing and the karpas and the eating.
So seemingly that's every time. Meaning also coffee in the.
L'chayra, if you wash for that also, I guess, yeah, same idea. It's fine, it makes sense to say that. Lo batuach. Then rachsa you wash regular for a maitzi, and then by maitzi. So here by maitzi matzah. So the way to do it is by a maitzi. You hold all three matzahs in your hand and you say the bracha baruch atah Hashem hamitzvah lechem in haaretz, and then you let the third matzah drop, which is it's inside your kaida. It's not like it's a separate thing. You let go of it, and then you only hold the two top matzahs, and then you say the bracha baruch atah Hashem asher kiddushonu al achilas matzah. And now you have to eat. How many kazesim of matzah do you have to eat? Two. Now you have to eat two kazesim of matzah. One from the top matzah, one from the middle matzah. So how much is a kazais of matzah?
1/8 of the matzah.
So this is the big shaila. Okay, this is not a real matzah, obviously. No, it's not a real matzah. So Rabbi Broin writes as also that according to the biggest shear, first of all, to point out and realize, the shear of matzah does not go by weight; it goes by volume. That's an important detail that people argue about, and this, if I understand correctly, this is the consensus what all the Babish Rabbanim agree to. However, there might be some that disagree, but this is what most Rabbanim agree. It does not go by weight; it goes by volume. What does that mean? Volume means the amount of area space that it takes up. So it's understood that if I'm going to take all this lettuce and make it the same size as the matzah, the lettuce is going to weigh less than the matzah. So the same area. So if I take a cup and fill it up with lettuce, or take a cup and fill it up with matzah, it's going to weigh more when it's filled with matzah. So it's going to take up the same amount of space, that's called volume, but it weighs a different weight. So when it comes to the matzah, the shear of a kazayis is not a shear of weight, it's a shear of volume, of how much it takes up. How much space is it supposed to take up? The shear is 27 cubic centimeters, which is the size of a small matchbox. Now most matzahs, if you take the size of a small matchbox, it's not going to fill the matchbox. You have to put another piece and another piece, maybe 4 of those. So if you take a size of a small matchbox times 4, it depends how thick the matzah is. But maybe 3, it depends how thick the matzah is. It's known that the Crown Heights matzah bakery, their matzahs are very thick, as you mentioned before. The Montreal matzahs are known to be very, very thin. So a Montreal matzah, the kazais of a Montreal matzah is going to be bigger, closer to a quarter or even 2 quarters, or maybe not 2 quarters, a third of a matzah. A thicker matzah, like a Crown Heights matzah, will cost to be a quarter of a matzah, or even less would be the volume of a kazais. Now, to point out, there's a shear midaraisa and shear midarabanan. Midaraisa, it's 27 cubic centimeters. Midarabanan, it can be 17 cubic centimeters. From all the kazaisim that we eat, when the minig is all together, we eat how many kazaisim?
5.
Huh? The minig, official minig, is supposed to eat all together. We have to have 2 by Moitzi Matzah, 1 by Koirach, and 2 by Afikoyim. So you're supposed to have 5 altogether. However, from all these 5 kazesim, only the first kazais is minat Torah. All the other 4 kazesim are midrabanan. Midrabanan, a kazais is 17 cubic centimeters, which would be closer to a sixth of a matzah. So there used to be people saying that the reason why people came to this opinion, which I'm sure you've heard, that a kazais is a half a matzah or 2/3 of a matzah, is because people were saying that a matzah goes by weight and it has to be weigh a certain amount. And if you weigh a matzah, then indeed it has to be. You have to get a. If you want to get to the 27 grams, which is the weight of the kazais, if you go by weight, so then it ends up being a big portion of the matzah. But as we said, the agreement is that it has to be a lot less than that. So really, one matzah can pretty much do your all the kazaisim, because the first kazais will be a quarter of a matzah, let's say, and then all the other 4 kazaisim, they don't have to be a full kazais. I mean, I'll tell you, they can be a lot less than that. So one matzah can be enough. Yeah.
Benjamin said that by Mitzvah matzah, you could have half a matzah to go the strictest, which has 2 small ones in it, because the second one's already midrabanan.
Yeah, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have a kazais on the top and a kazais on the bottom, from the middle one. You're supposed to eat from both of them. So it's a half a matzah to say that a half. Okay, that's easy being machmir.
He's saying a half a matzah total if you want to be very machmir.
But you
No,
can't.
I said both of them could be excised midrabanan because together it's a excised.
I hear what you're saying. Okay, that's interesting spot. But most people eat a very large amount. People are first of all hungry at this point, and a lot of people like matzah, so they'll eat a lot of more of it. But you're going to eat now a kazais of the top and a kazais of the middle one, and so that's for moitzi matzah.
Also, why do all the pamphlets, whatever they have shiurim say half a matzah?
Because they're going by weight, not by value.
But why don't they say that you could do a lot less?
That's stricter, yeah, because you go by weight. The Lubavitcher Rabbanim don't say that. They say it has to be by value. Rabbi Broid in his this year's guide, he clearly says a quarter of a matzah you want to be machmir, average size matzah, and a sixth of a matzah for the Rabbanim. Huh? I don't know if there's anything to be machmir. I'm not sure. Let's get it up.
A lot of people say it was a mistake.
What?
When you wrote.
Yeah. There's a discussion. He wrote, I think, that could weight, not value.
He translated it to weight.
He translated to weight, but again, that's the part of the conversation, right? So that's moitzi matzah, and then comes motor. So again, you officially read all the instructions before. Many people don't, and they read it now. And then by the motor, so now is when you have to do. You're supposed to do the motor and dip it into the charoises, and here is where you put the motor inside, not the motor. You put the charoises inside your wine. Familiar with that? Not the whole thing. So you have a little bit of charoises on your kaira. You take a spoonful or a little bit of it by hand, whatever you want, and you put it inside your tats. How you say tats? Your plate of the wine.
Does it matter?
That's what.
No. No, the charoises, the dry charoises remains on your kaira, and then the charoises that you used into the wine, it becomes a very big mess over here, what's in your bowl. But that's where you take a little bit of the charoises, and you put it into the bowl together with the wine, and then you dip your motor inside the charoises with the wine, and then you make the bracha al achilas motor. As you make the bracha, what do you have to have in mind? Have in mind the koirich. So, reads on the bottom. I forgot to point out that when you're making the bracha al achilas matzah, you also have to have in mind also the koirich and also afikoyim. Even though there's going to be a big hefsek by Shulchan Aruch, you still have to have that in mind.
But if it's in front of you, so it's automatically you might know.
Yeah, but it says in halacha, better to, even if you don't have a mind, you're still going to be yetzer. I do have a mind. So that's motor, and then the motor you dip it into the
Where does it put the Christ inside the wine?
Doesn't say that. That's the Rebbe's minute. Originally it says you make charesis with wine. However, since today we go overboard when it comes to gebroks, so we don't want the charesis, which is going to touch the chazeres, which goes on to the matzah by koirich, to have any kind of moisture in it. Therefore, we don't mix some wine into the charesis beforehand. We don't do it later. What? The chatchila. Right, straight away, because your wine, you make your own wine. Oh, he told me this already. So that's why you know your wine has no water in it, so there's no purpose in it. Very good. That's very good. So that makes sense, a lot of sense. Yeah. There's no concern.
How can we put it after?
What?
How can we put the wine after?
Because we don't put the charesis that's on our kaida, which will be used. We take part of the, this is the Rebbe's minute. Part of the charesis is put into the wine, and that charesis is now used for murder, dipped into that, and then this charesis remains dry, and later by koirich.
So koirich you don't have wine.
Right, that's the whole word. By koirich you're dipping into dry charesis. This way there's no concern that there might be.
It comes out wet.
Wipe it off.
What?
Sometimes it comes out wet.
If it's made peiris, it's not machmitzin, says Allah Mashana.
But you still
Even though the macharesis is wet, if it's not, there's no water in it, it's not going to cause. So wine has no water either, but some wine might have water. That's what he's saying. And his family has admitted that they make wine just for charesis. Like, you know that wine has no water in it, and they move it to l'chatchila. And this way, there's no problem of l'chatchila using it with the curd. All right, so that's the murder, and then is koirich. So what happens by koirich? By koirich, we take the bar de matzah. You take the bar de matzah and
break it in half.
You make it into a sandwich. So based on what we said before, most people use a tremendous amount of matzah. Remember, for koirich, you only need one kazayis. One kazayis, even you want to be machmir, it's a quarter of a matzah. This is smaller than our average size round matzah. It's less than a half a piece. So you can take a quarter of a piece and break that in half and put it inside. So it's a very small amount of matzah is necessary for koirich. Most people take a lot more. And also when it comes to the martyr, I didn't mention this. The shear of martyr is only midrabana, not minatayra today. So martyr, in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, martyr was midrayis. Today martyr is midrabana. Because the Eibishter wrote in the Torah that when you have a carbon pesach, you have to eat martyr. If there's no carbon pesach, you don't have to eat martyr. Today you don't have a carbon pesach. But the Chacham said we should eat martyr anyway. But it's only midrabana. So therefore, it doesn't require a shear minatayra. So amount of martyr.
Why is matzah like?
Because the Torah wrote in the Torah that matzah, even when there's no carbon pesach, you have to eat matzah anyway. So I would say that this is a shear of martyr. The lettuce itself, I would say this is approximately the shear of martyr, and this can be ate, so the whole martyr. You want to put some of the white stuff and cry a little bit, adraba, but it can all fit in the same amount of this. Many people, the Rebbe is known, the Rebbe I mentioned before, had a very big shear of martyr. But mitzad halacha, this could be enough for martyr.
How much is that exactly?
17 cubic centimeters, yeah.
Is there a point of having half a matzah, or is there no point at all?
There's a mitzvah in eating matzah. Every bite of matzah they're taking, you're doing a mitzvah. You're bringing more michla than himnusa, michla the asvasa. You're bringing more amuna and the thing upon yourself. But mitzvah, the requirement is very small.
Do you have any tips with the more where you keep on the carrot, like how you could keep it without causing all the weight to fall out and the more not to keep on opening up?
You just take a big leaf and then wrap it up.
You have to see it.
How do you keep it from not opening up?
You try to take a big throughout the Seder night.
No,
what do you keep it on the carrot until
you go like this, and then you go like this, and then the weight holds it down.
You can maybe fold it like this and put the bottom part underneath it, so its own weight will hold it downwards. Cubic centimeters.
Isn't only the first kazayis not there?
Oh, yeah.
Every bite of matzah.
It's a mitzvah. It's not a requirement. You're doing a mitzvah by eating matzah. Yeah, it's a mitzvah. Yeah, it's still a mitzvah for sure.
Yeah. Loves matzah.
It's just like sukkah. It's the same thing. Every moment you're in the sukkah, it's a mitzvah. You don't have to be there the entire time. But you're doing it. It's a mitzvah. Right. So as far as I understand, it works the same thing over here.
Can I get a bike?
Can't have it.
I want a bike.
All right. So by koirach now we take a very small amount of matzah. As I said, it can be the size. Let's say this size. This could be the size of a kazayis. So you take over here, you put a mortar on this, and as we mentioned, now you dip your mortar into the bottom one, the one that's lower down. You dip it into the dry charoises, and the way it says it, you put the charoises on top of it, and you shake it off. In this way, it's even. There might have been moisture; it's barely felt. You shake it off, and then you put it over here together, and then
eat it.
Then you eat. And before you start eating the koirach, so the instructions you don't say because you said them before rachza, but the kein asa hillel you say now, and then you eat the entire koirach. Now,
Who invented the cane?
who invented the cane? Cane also Hillel.
Yeah.
That's the Gemara says. No, the Rebbe brings a whole beer about this also, but in our Nusach, I mentioned before. This is also a famous shtickle that the Rebbe talks
Cocaine,
about.
what do you think?
Huh?
I was talking.
I didn't point out something else. I mentioned
Yeah,
that the
cocaine.
minig is not to talk from after Rochza until the end of Kodesh. So that's mitzvah the minig. But really, when it comes to the halacha itself says, we know that whenever you wash, you can't talk till after Hametz. What's after Hametz? After you finish swallowing. Over here,
said that. It's not a mitzvah.
what's not a mitzvah?
That you just eat the first zayis and then
There's no point in eating more matzah afterwards.
Once you get to the mitzvah, you get to the mitzvah.
Huh?
he said if anything, it's not healthy.
No. I think I think differently. Huh?
No, he said basically once you get to the mitzvah, you get to the mitzvah 100%. There's no more being, you're not getting more than the mitzvah.
I think it's like pain. I think it's like sukkahs. By sukkahs, every time you're in the mitzvah, sukkah, you're spending more mitzvah. Maybe I'm wrong. Can't say. It's happened before.
Also not in the same way that when you're eating matzah.
Yes.
What's it called? You meant to, the first night you're not meant to eat so much, so the second night you have to eat it.
Well,
The first day and the first night you're not meant to eat.
first day you should, because you have to have space for the seder.
No, I'm saying for the second night.
First night you're not supposed to eat, so you should have more room for the second night.
You're not meant to eat so much
Appetite.
Well, according to the- Not familiar. Can't say.
So you wait for the second night.
shouldn't get sick of it.
Can't say. I could be I'm wrong, but this is what I remember. Maybe I'm making it up.
I remember.
What's noch over here? Okay, fine. So then we go to the so I mentioned. Sorry to say. Now, even though it's only a minig not to talk till after Kodesh, it's brought down in halacha. But while you're eating the matzah, this is the halacha that you're not meant to talk until you finish the kazayis of matzah, or the two kazayim of matzah. That's halacha. You shouldn't be talking. Everyone has to be chomping on the matzah, and no talking is supposed to happen until you're completely done. And by Kodesh as well, as you eat the Kodesh, you shouldn't be talking, just eating the Kodesh, and only when you've done the Kodesh, then you can start talking. And now comes
The egg.
Shulchan Aruch.
Yes.
Huh? Shulchan Aruch.
A long
It's
table.
time to call back.
Oh, and someone asked the Shaila, and I just saw that my brain brings it, that La'osid Lava, someone, I forgot which Sefer, Tshuva Me'ava, one of the Svardim, the place can write, that when Mashiach comes, we're all going to go back to eating kitnius and rice and all that.
Oh
yeah.
See, like the Sfardim are still Jews.
No.
Oh
It's like that lady in 7-7.
Just a battery.
Eats on Tisha B'Av, okay?
Everybody has a battery pack.
Same thing.
50.
Man, because of it, you know.